So after all that, the Toronto Raptors will receive the number 9 pick in the 2025 NBA draft. It was a disappointing draft lottery result for the Toronto Raptors. I did a live stream reaction to it, and my goodness, did that one sting. As the Raptors, they had 19.7% odds of staying at 7th and 34.1% odds of falling one spot and 12.9% odds of what ended up happening, of the Raptors falling back 2 spots to number 9. And we all have seen the fallout of the draft lottery. Not going to get into detail about what I think about it. I did a separate video on that. But you look at that top 3, and it's hard not to think things didn't go on behind the scenes. I mean, yeah, the Raptors could have tanked a lot harder. And I could be ripping on this team for a couple of winning streaks that they had. But after watching how that top 4 ultimately played out, I don't think any of it would have mattered. So it's in the rear view. The emotions have settled, and the Raptors now know their draft fate. They will be picking number 9. And it's actually the 4th time in Raptors franchise history where they will have the number 9 pick. And they actually have some pretty good history when looking at that number 9 slot. They drafted Tracy McGrady in 1997, DeMar DeRozan in 2009, and Jakob Poeltl in 2016. So the Raptors hoping to replicate their success with that number 9 pick. In this video, guys, I wanted to take an early look ahead to who should the Raptors draft with that number 9 pick. There's still a lot of time between now and the NBA draft, which will take place on June 25th. But nonetheless, we finally know the draft order. We finally know where the Raptors will be picking from, and it will be number 9. So let's take a look at a couple of prospects who the Raptors could choose at this spot. Before we dive right into it, do me a solid, smash a like on the video and smash that subscribe button for more Raptors content just like this. So I'm going to run through a couple of names here. And first, going to mention Malawak of Duke. Yes, I am aware there is a strong possibility Malawak is no longer on the draft board by the time the Raptors make this pick, because he's been really the one guy who has consistently been linked to the Raptors. But of course, that was from the number 7 spot. But now falling back a couple of spots to number 9, Malawak may in fact not even be here. But there still is a chance he could, based on how the rest of the draft board plays out before the Raptors make their pick. And if Malawak is still there, he's my pick this early on, post-draft lottery. I mean, you look at his size, 7'2", center, great shot blocker. He's a defensive anchor, great rim protector, and he would immediately fit a need on this team. The Raptors need a backup big behind Jakob Poeltl, and he can instantly slide into that role and one day even take over as a starter. So it would be a win-win situation for this team to draft him now as their backup center, and then hopefully one day he can in turn become this team's starter. You would hope either he or Chomchi could take those reins once the Jakob Poeltl era is over in Toronto. And I think, you look at Malawak, there's a lot of upside. I know there's a lot of people that think it's going to be not as smooth of a transition to the pro game for him, but when you look at his size, his intangibles, what he brings to you on the defensive side, I mean, it's very compelling. And Jonathan Gavoni put this out saying, the DX database says Malawak's measurements are similar to Rudy Gobert's with his incredible size, length, and reach, 15 pounds heavier at a much younger age, and should continue to fill out impressively over time. So Malawak's definitely a guy who's going to be on the Raptors' radar. Another big man in the theme of big men, because I do think the Raptors ultimately take a big. Dereck Queen from Maryland. This is a guy who could be available at this spot as well. And you look at Queen, he really had a standout tournament. I mean, he produced one of the biggest moments of this past March Madness tournament, and he trailed only Cooper Flagg in wins above replacement player among freshmen this season per CBB Analytics. And Queen was named Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and you look at his game, he's proved that he's got versatility. He's got such a unique skill set as a big man that makes him very, very entertaining to watch. And he's a polished offensive player for his size, and he just plays at his own pace. And he's a good playmaker at his position. The thing about Queen, though, is his jumper is a little bit funky. He's got that little hitch with his jump shot. Another player who the Raptors could ultimately take here, Yakachonis of Illinois, who fell a little bit. Of course, this was a guy who at one point was projected to go as a top 5 pick. You look at Yakachonis, got great size at the position, 6'5". He's a crafty combo guard. He's got a really nice shooting stroke, and he's got the ability to not only create for himself, but also his teammates. And he would give the Raptors another guard alongside Emmanuel Quickley. How they integrate it all, that remains to be seen. I don't think Yakachonis would start because obviously you got RJ, Brandon Ingram, Scotty, and Pirtle, but he could be used as a guard from off the bench. I know the Raptors got plenty of guards now with Dick and Jacoby Walter and Jamal Shed, but Yakachonis could be another guard in that guard room. And he does project to be a point guard, and he has really good size for that position, and I really like his finishing ability, but he'll need to really just round out his game more so off the ball. Another player, Colin Murray Boyles from South Carolina, and you look at Boyles, he's got great toughness, play finishing, passing, and what really stands out is just his upside defensively. He's got great defensive chops. Now, the thing about Boyles is his offense isn't the greatest, his shooting in particular. I mean, yes, he's a really great defender, and that's his sell here, but he's going to have to improve that jumper, and he did shoot just terribly from 3, 26.5%. Boyles would give the Raptors just a true power forward who can really be integrated in different lineups from a defensive standpoint, and I think he would slate in nicely to a bench role immediately for this team and contribute, because you look at what he provides instantly. He's just a physical player with great defensive versatility and just has a strong feel for the game. And then the last guy here, bit of a project pick. Of course, the Raptors no stranger to those. Noah Asenge, and this is such a Raptors-esque pick. And this is what Zach Buckley of Bleacher Report said. Asenge already feels pretty Raptors-y. He's young, long, and athletic, and he should shine in the open floor and do some interesting things on defense. He's also a work-in-progress shooter who lacks polish offensively. So, of course, the Raptors, this would just be a project pick for them, but you just look at his ability to be that toolsy kind of forward with a pretty good handle. He's that dynamic finisher, and he's very, very versatile defensively. And really, like, you would just be banking on him developing a jump shot. But defensively, I mean, he creates matchup problems just with his ability to cover so much ground. And, you know, he's 6'10", and he was often tasked with guarding point guards thanks to his speed and that length that he possesses. So, and he's actually the second youngest prospect in the draft. But just the defensive tools he has, his ability to move the way that he does, I think that would be very enticing if the Raptors were to go for a more project, long-term potential pick here at number 9. Those are just some names I want to throw at you, very preliminary stuff. But guys, let me know your early thoughts about the Raptors draft. I'll be doing a couple more previews, mocks, if you will, before the draft actually goes down. But who's on your radar this early following the NBA draft lottery? We now know the Raptors will be picking number 9. Who's on your big board? Who are some players that you would like to see the Raptors take in this spot? And who's your pick if you had it your way? Let me know your thoughts, guys. Drop a like in the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. That's it for me. It's Luke signing off. Thanks for watching. I will catch you all again in the next one.